Discussion? No further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, we'll go to the special October meeting.
I would so move to approve.
Second that.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? If there's no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Both carry. Okay, I have nobody has asked to speak, so
I guess I put was already, I'm sorry.
did you want to put your name on?
No, that's all right.
So we'll go to claims and submissions. We'll start with the elementary, please.
I would so move to accept the elementary claims.
Second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion?
What was the deal with the emergency hatch on the yellow bus?
Oh, is that a-
It was leaking.
It was leaking.
Leaking. Mhm.
Does that have to be inspected by the,
The hatch, probably functionality, because it's an emergency exit.
that's just the one that the highway patrol goes over? Yeah. Any more discussion? You guys good? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. High school.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion?
Starting the year out early with plowing snow.
Shit.
September 30th.
Yep. Don't remind me.
Mhm.
I think everybody.
Only 7 more months.
Yeah.
7 is all you.
He's optimistic.
That's not a good sign. All right, if there's no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Both claims passed. Ready? All right, correspondence?
I don't have it.
I don't
Or
know.
do I?
Very good. Mr. Excuse me, administrative reports, Wendy.
All right, good evening. Let's take a moment to acknowledge that everyone is present, right? Nobody's
Oh.
shoveling snow today. There's a few faces we haven't gotten to see for a while. It's good to see you all. I wanted to start with a simple celebration that Marion and I have lived through the first junior high dance. She sent a client to it and I supervised. It was good. Mr. Schilling was the DJ, and we only have a couple of junior high dances a year. And so we had that on Friday, and it's pretty funny because a couple of parents, I think it was Matt, told your daughter that he was gonna come chaperone, and Peyton did not like that.
Want that?
She said, "Dad, you're not allowed. You cannot come." But I took a lot of pictures and shared with parents, and so I don't know how excited children were that when they got home, that their parents had evidence of how much fun they had at the dance. So anyway, it was a good evening, and nothing exciting to report about that. So I was glad. I just wanted to remind people in the first item to talk about the National Honor Society induction. That is coming up next Monday, and I know many of you are going to be there, and so make sure that your RSVP, is given to Mrs. Droscher as we work on our head count. And I think some of you may have been recruited to bring certain food items depending on how Mrs. Droscher was doing on her food list. So thank you ahead of time if you are able to come to that, and that is at 6:30 at the Stage Stop Inn. And the main course is beef. Beef is what's for dinner, roast beef. As you know, my second item is our contract or vendor for graduation materials is Jostens. They have been, our vendor for a number of years to do our wonderful diplomas and then the students' garb that they would purchase. And so they came to visit on October 15th to present to sophomores and to seniors. Sophomores have the opportunity to order like a class ring or bracelet or, other necklaces, things like that, that would honor the year that they'll graduate. So they could be incentivized at the expense of your pocketbook to have some jewelry celebrating their graduation year. The senior group selected as a motto for them, today we follow, tomorrow we lead. And I think there's a little bit more to it also, and I look forward to seeing, what that will look like when we get there in May. The boys have opted to wear black gowns and caps. The girls will do maroon, and then they will each have gold, as you call it, a stole that would go over it that has their graduation year and CHS on it. And then, of course, National Honor Society, those will be available, for kids. And then their fancy cords if they graduate with honors and all of those things. So it's exciting. We might even have a couple of kids with the Red Cross cord this year too. So, because we did not have anybody last year. Any comments or questions about the first two items? Okay. Staff professional development. I worked to develop a module for this last month for my staff on suicide prevention and awareness. We have a process in the high school for if a child does seem like they are at risk for self-harm, threat to self, or even threat to others. The process is kind of similar, just the questions are different. But I wanted to make sure staff understood what the nature of the crisis team would be. And that crisis team is myself, Bev Yeager, and Shelley Johnson. We are all trained then in how to ask a kid and use a matrix to kind of quantify, how serious or well-planned that is. Montana does require that there be suicide prevention training for all staff every few years. And unfortunately, Montana still has one of the highest suicide rates, in the United States. So it's important that we stay current on what's going on with that. So if any of you would like to see the resources we use or the process, just come in and visit. I would be happy to share that process and questions with you so that you know what we have developed. Any questions about any of that training or anything? The next item is about prom. Oh, yay. Prom is coming up quicker than we'd like to think. April 4th, it still seems like a long way away. But remember when the young ladies of the junior class, when the leaders came and asked permission to be able to invite Dutton Brady and Power Schools to maybe co-plan and host that with us? I've not heard back from Power yet, but I did hear from Dutton Brady this last week, and Superintendent Allen celebrated the news that they would be very happy to do that with us. So the students will be working with the students and advisor that Mrs. Allen then has shared that information with us so that we can co-plan with them. And if I don't hear from Power by the beginning of the week, then I will ask them also, because I know the kids would like to get started planning, but they did not want to begin on any of that until they knew, if we would be sharing in that celebration. Athletics and activities has been very, very busy, and watching the newspaper, and I have to thank Melody for how faithful she is in trying to keep the Acantha page and the newspaper up to date. And we have kids all over the place doing things. It really is hard to keep track of everybody. And it's exciting that the fall sports are kind of coming to a close. And with a couple of weeks, then we'll have the winter activities beginning. Football did make it to the playoff game in Fairview, and it's a long ways away. It's in Egypt, otherwise known near North Dakota. We did take pictures with the team because you know how on the edge of Fairview there is a sign that says "Welcome to North Dakota." So after the game, we did drive over there and had all the kids pile out and stand in front of that sign and take a few pictures because they thought it was a great lark, to do that. It was a difficult game. But Coach Gunderson knew it was going to be difficult when you're going in as a 4th seed in your division going against the 1st seed that was undefeated for the season. Some of their players were really big. And so, you think your team is a really good sized team and they got their pads on and everything. And then they all go out to the field and they're doing the introductions. And then here's their guy and then your guy, shaking hands and then going off their ways. And like, okay, this is going to be difficult. But there were no injuries. I'm happy to report that there were no serious injuries, and I was very glad to be there. So they ended in a very stylish fashion and did a good job, those young men. Volleyball, I'm really proud of our girls. You saw the news and things that off to state tournament we go this weekend. And we had a very successful hosting of district just a few weeks ago here. Mr. Shepard did an amazing job of being the tournament manager for that. And that tournament went off very well. Our take at the gate was over $6,200. It was more than district 2 years ago, because you know how we trade back and forth in the field for that. And we kind of wondered with all of the other competing events, with football and other things happening, because a lot of the teams in our area were a part of playoffs in their own right. And so we were glad that the take at the gate covered our expenses. As well as each of the other teams in our district got a check from us for several $100s in a cost sharing of how MHSA has a hosting school share that profit, with the other schools, as well as paying for travel expenses for them. State volleyball is this weekend, and I know you've heard all about that. I have extra brackets here if anybody would like to see what teams made it to state and how that will look. Our first game is on Thursday at 2. Volleyball will still leave tomorrow evening. We have a pep assembly for them tomorrow at 3:10. You are very welcome to come if you would like to do that. The volleyball parents are a featured item during this pep assembly, and it should be humorous. I heard they were practicing today after school, but Tracy Beeler would not tell me anything. So you are very welcome to come if you'd like to see that. The pep assembly will not be televised, so if you want to see it, you will need to come live.
You can stream it on Facebook.
Oh, we could always stream it on Facebook. Yeah, no. You need to come to the event. Because people may do something that they do not want to have recorded.
think
There's
they
a
will.
certain vulnerability in acting for amateurs. So we'll see. Mr. Gaiman and I will both be attending state volleyball, and we'll have vehicles down there. I'll take my own vehicle, as will he, so that if there does need to be some flexibility with kids or families, at least we have, another vehicle there. We're really proud of our girls going in the first place. I was sad that I was not at Wolf Point, but John kept sending me very lively texts because he was there, with the group. And we are taking along with us some healthy competition, for the next level. So our first game, is it with, I want to say it's Townsend Bulldogs. Preseason, we beat them, and when we went there, we beat them. So it is possible that we will beat them. But, you should not talk about your chickens before they hatch, or whatever the saying is. Any questions about volleyball, football? Maroon and gold, rah, rah. It will be streamed. I'll be sure to post a link on Facebook for you. I wanted to brag a little bit about our music department, especially since Mrs. Deppner is here this evening. I'm really excited that they will be going too. Thank you for helping make that possible with the added funding that she was able to get and your approvals for them to be able to go. Michaela will be going also. That's a big group of kids to go with Mrs. Deppner on her own. So Michaela will go along with them as a parent chaperone. So at least Loran has a little help in keeping track of the friends, while we were there. We have a big group of kids going to be participating in music in the North Central Honor Band and Choir event that's coming up in the first week in December. Loran, how many kids of ours made the auditions and will be participating? 12 students. And for a school our size, that's a very respectable number and really reflects the hard work that Mrs. Deppner pours into them, because it was something that they had to try out for, and they had to submit an audition tape to the judges for that, and they are rated by other people then on whether they would go or not. That event is in Shelby, so we're glad at least it's close by, and we'll run a bus at both days. Speech and drama season, it kind of happens in between volleyball, football, and before winter begins. So speech and drama is already well underway, and they have now participated in 2 meets. The group was very small that went to these 2 meets because, as you know, in a school our size, and because our kids are very well-rounded, it's a kind of there is a huge overlap of speech and drama, band, volleyball, football, because a lot of our athletes are also very artistic and very articulate. So sometimes they have to wait for one season to wind down before they can get wound up in the next season. So this small group that went to Havre did very well. Tommy Losowski came home with the first place. He does the informational speaking. And a humorous duo of Nick Loaf and Terrence O'Neill placed first in Havre also. And then this last weekend, we sent that same small group, and Haley Alzheimer was with them also, to a large meet in Ronan. Over 400 students were at that meet, many of them from AA and A schools. A big group of them had competed at the national level in that same competition that we sent Daniel Asselstein to last year, kind of that national level of speech and debate. Our kids did great. We came home with a first place in drama and a 3rd place in speech. And that first place in drama was Terrence O'Neill. Terrence O'Neill was our only kid who competed in a specific event area, and it's because of his performance that we brought home a first place trophy from an event with 400 kids. I mean, it's very exciting. So Cody Marnie is sending me texts, updating me about that. So I'm very proud of our speech and drama. Another group that you have read about in the paper and online is our FFA group. That's another group to be very, very proud of. Not only did they represent Choteau well, but they represented Montana well. You remember that last month, you approved for the FFA group to travel to Indianapolis. Carolyn Rader was a part of that group because she was part of the original qualifiers. So she went and competed with the group in Indianapolis. Our team did so well that at the national level, Carolyn Rader took first in the nation in food science. She herself did not believe that she was going to score that. Tori Yeager was standing next to her when they were doing the announcements. They mispronounced her name and called her Caroline Reeder, I think. And so she wasn't really listening. And Tori Yeager gave her a poke, that, hey, I think they just said your name. And she was like, no, that can't be me. But it was. And she outscored the others. And I mean, way above. It wasn't just a squeaky few points. It was a proud win. As a team, our team took a silver medal in food science, and as individuals, a silver medal for Amber and Lila, both in their events, and a bronze for Hope Lindquist. So even on a national front, how well our kids held against a big competition field. If you saw any of those pictures, it looked like a Republican National Convention. The only thing missing were elephants marching around, I suppose. But it was very interesting to see how well they did. Mr. Wearley did a good job of capturing some good pictures too. And then I was, and you know that we have a group of FFA kids going to Bozeman next week too. So between Loran and with Pet Band, volleyball and FFA, there'll be some interchange of sometimes volleyball players will be playing in the band and sometimes they'll be over at FFA. And so I guess we hope they all show up in the right costume for what they're participating in, because we do have a crossover. So there's not going to be many students left here in school on Thursday and Friday because of that. Any questions or comments about activities to the moment? Can you tell I'm pretty proud of those kids? It's very exciting.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. Winter sports is starting later this month. On the 21st will be the first practice, and that will be for boys and girls basketball and for wrestling. It's interesting, even though the state of Montana does not have for high school wrestling a separate category for girls. Right now, girls wrestle with the young men and are kind of in the same weight classes, same recognition, all of that kind of bit. Not this year at state, but the following year at state, there will be a category for young women that will be separate from the young men. So it would be not unlike how tennis or, other sports where both sexes are competing, that there would be events that are just for boys or just for girls. Sam is trying to see if there are any young women that would be interested in wrestling, knowing that in a couple of years, maybe it would only be young women that they would wrestle. At the college level, that the reason we are moving to that in Montana is because at the college level, there are a separate division for women wrestling, and there's huge scholarships. So we'd really like our girls, if they are interested, to be able to be ready to be the holder of some of those scholarships. Many colleges are offering big bucks for them to be able to come and wrestle. Why not get your college paid for by wearing a wrestling uniform, What's tough in our school is many of our athletic kids already kind of have some of their threads that they work on. So it'll be interesting to see. And you're laughing at me. You go ahead and you say something you're
I was
thinking
trying to
about.
remember what the basketball players call the wrestlers' uniform. That's what they are, is a
What is
singlet, but they call them a onesie.
Oh, onesie. Instead of a singlet, it's called a onesie.
That's
Yes,
what
well,
they
Sam and
do.
I were already looking at, we would need to order a few other uniforms should any young women want to wrestle. Because as you can imagine, the onesies that we own already are not going to be
Singlets,
appropriate.
they're
Yes,
singlets.
I know, I was just making fun of you. It's allowed. We can laugh a little bit together. Y'all want one for a Halloween costume.
It'd really be scary out there.
The children will be frightened and they will be harmed forever. Their retina will be burned. Okay. I wanted to tell you too that the new wrestling mats, that we've been working on financing for through district and booster and other entities, that they have been ordered and should be here soon. And we're really excited about that. They did come. Oh, we might want to go and have a moment of silence and go stand in the wrestling room later with the new lights. Maybe you can really see them.
I haven't been out there. I just
Okay.
paid the invoice this
Yes.
last time and
A little over
Sam said
$12,000
it was
for
out
new
there.
lights. So we're really going to make sure that Sam and John and I are aware of who's using the wrestling room, because we don't want people to just willy-nilly decide to go roll around on the mats. So, and I worked with WIT to have a separate cleaning system for that, so that we're not using the same mops that we would use on floors or to clean restrooms, to clean those mats so that they have their own system. Because longevity, we want them to last forever.
Probably won't use the new ones
And a day, forever and a day. That is the end. I could go on for a long time, but that is the end.
No,
for
we're good.
tonight.
Thank you.
Okay, you're like, yes, thank you.
Very good. Any questions for Wendy? If not, Chuck?
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll talk first about PAX training. I've talked a little bit about that before, but we have virtually now had virtually all staff trained in that, both certified and non-certified staff, so that everyone in the elementary understands the program. And we're definitely on the right path for implementation of that. Our early release time on October 30th was used to discuss PAX and the implementation of it, because we had two different presenters for the two different sections of people that went, and there was some differences in the messages that we received from the trainers. So we worked through those things and kind of planned out our course for implementation and so on. We've also had observations by Dawn Gunderson and Melissa Moyer. very good information they gave us. There was also a survey for the teachers to complete for the state, which they've done. And I talked about this before. DPHHS, who we received the grant through, is giving us $500 per teacher who was trained. So that equates to $8,500 for the elementary to cover any training and implementation costs of the program.
Oh, wow.
So one day we had 13 subs in the elementary, another day we had 11 subs in the elementary. You know, that's a pretty good chunk of change, all be covered with that. So that was great news. Yesterday was our Veterans Day program. If you were there, thank you for being there. If you weren't, you missed a great program. I mean, that's all I can say. It was a wonderful program. USO style show that the kids did, performed by the sixth graders. Steely Stubblefield was Bob Hope. Did a great job. Kids had parts in it. And then, of course, Rose prepared them with their songs that they sang. Need to thank Mary Smith, or acknowledge Mary Smith, she actually wrote what the students performed. And Karen Crawford spent a lot of time with sixth grade getting them ready, and then obviously Rose and the time she spent with the kids and the teachers. Anyway, it was a great program, well received. We had a lot of veterans there. We had a reception after, which was well attended. We used Mrs. Crone's room, and it's full.
It
It's
was.
full. It's awesome.
Was.
And virtually everyone I talked to loved the program. It was great.
Oh, and then the
Auditorium
meal in
was
the
full.
evening, Brooke was
Was it?
talking about that.
Different.
Oh, it's
No,
different group that did that,
No,
okay,
that
Okay.
would be the Legion.
okay,
Let's talk about activity bus drivers.
okay.
I don't officially have a resignation from Russ. I'm sure you've heard that, and he's communicated with me that he's done driving for the district. He told me he would give me a resignation before this meeting. I don't have that. John Stoltz has kind of moved into the role that Russ had, taking care of the buses, maintenance stuff and so on. With the fact that, and I'm sure you've heard this too, Lane and I have talked about it with Russ resigning, John Stoltz heading out for vacation on Thursday, and Dave Chalfont unavailable to drive. We had no drivers for Bozeman. And so it's been a scramble, got it worked out. I found a driver who drives for Power who's willing to take our bus down and take our pet van down. His name is Josh Ewing. Josh came in yesterday, filled out a bunch of paperwork, and he's going to be on the list later on to hire as a sub. We have everything done with the exception of
Nice.
background check, which I'll have tomorrow. So we'll be good to go with that. And then also through this process, we've been talking with Gary Passmore about the possibility of driving, and we've got that covered. Gary's willing to get a driver and use our bus to take the volleyball team down, and that's going to be Matt Passmore who will be
Okay.
driving the girls down there. And he came in and met with Patty and got his stuff updated and so on. So we're good to go for right now. Anyway, I've also, through this process, Pat got me a couple of names of potential substitute drivers. And thank you, Pat, for that. And I got them lined up. One was supposed to be today. Ben Cobb, who drives for Conrad, also was supposed to come in and see us and do some paperwork. He didn't. I also talked to Will Snodgrass. He's willing to do that too. He's kind of unavailable for a week or two, so he'll come in when he's available and fill out some paperwork.
Nice.
And we still have Ken Meyer working on his licensure
Okay,
and getting everything in order. So this is, I feel good about the future after we got
A
through.
little bleak for a little while.
It was for a few days, yes. We've talked, Wendy and I have talked about Smiles Across Montana, the dental program that comes into the school and free of charge, sees kids and addresses their needs. And really, they bring a portable dental office right here and set it up. And it was in Bev's room. We had kids over here. They saw about 60 kids over the course of 3 days. Lots of families took advantage of the program. They were excited about it. Lots of compliments about our
Yes.
kids and how they acted and just the staff and
Yes.
the town and everything. It was a very good experience for everyone. And they did meet with Dr. Allen before they left town. Their goal is to just have kids have regular dental care, whether it's with them or with Dr. Allen or Dr. Seelan, whoever it is, with the dentist. And so they try to push people to that end. But until they get to that end, they'll come in and see them. They're coming again in February.
yeah, 3 months.
And we'll do it again, and we'll offer it again to parents so that hopefully more parents will take advantage of it. It's a great opportunity. So I'd say it was a huge success for the
It was
first.
a huge, they were so easy to work with, they were so kind. And they had the door open often, for that traffic in and out, and then they had some screens set up to offer privacy around the dental chairs. Just hearing the way they would speak to the children and how respectful they were to our kids and how they would differentiate depending on the age of the child they were talking to. It really was a pleasure to have them here at school. So
It was good.
I was really pleased with it.
Just to let you know, you probably know this already too, but the Lions Club is hosting the community Thanksgiving dinner again at the school, using the kitchen, using the cafeteria to serve. Previous years, Lee Barhaws kind of headed up that event, and actually it's transitioning from Lee to Kathy Campbell volunteered to do that, which is awesome. She's a great gal, works very, very hard, and so Lee's going to help her with that transition this year, but Kathy will be taking over. It's a great event, and if you're free and on Thanksgiving morning you want to help out, we're down here starting about 5 in the morning, and by the time cleanup's done, it's about 4 in the afternoon. So, but if you can come down and help out, please do let Kathy know. I like to organize, and so we had a number of Lions Club members, Seroptimists, and then just people who come and volunteer for. So it's a great opportunity to do that. You didn't mention Percy, so I'll talk about Percy.
You know what? I was going to ask to interrupt to do that, but you talk about it. This is very
A
exciting.
great bit of recognition for one of our students. Percy
Yes.
Bechtold wrote a paper for Mrs. Halverson's class, and it was submitted to Bugle, which is a publication by the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, and it was published. Great picture of Percy with his essay, and it's great recognition for Percy and for Mrs. Halverson, and so it's awesome.
It is. It was. There's a picture of Percy with the moccasins that he made for himself, a rifle that is a kit that he got from his parents, a flintlock that then he has to finish, and then I don't remember the actual name of the bag, that it's an hair-on elk skin that you would put like your and I will say it wrong, so those of you who understand the riflery better than I do, the bullets, and then the little, isn't it like a paper, like a little packet that has the powder in it so it's already the right number of grains to stuff down in there or whatever. But then the horn where he keeps the powder in it, and in the descriptive language, I was just captive reading it. It's about 2 or 3 pages. And because I know Percy and I know Laura, I was crying at the end, and I just to have such a young writer write about his passion in such a genuine fashion. And there's a nice picture of his dad there too, because that's a hobby that he shares with Chris, his father. And there's even a sub article about the accoutrements. Is that the right word? Like all of your stuff. Your different equipment, the horn, the bag. Is it accoutrements? Is that the right way to say it?
So.
Is it accoutrements?
Accoutrements.
Accoutrements. Accoutrements, there she goes. Anyway, if you can get a hold of the Bugle magazine, please do. And if you can't, go see Laura. She's got one sitting on her desk because that's the one she let me borrow. Because what an honor to have one of our young writers captured in a magazine.
The next thing on the list is, I've talked a little bit about this, an incentive package or retirement package, retirement incentive package, whatever you want to call it. I think it's interesting. When I printed them out for you, you see what mine has up here? That's what's on the screen, and then I printed it out, and that's what's there. I have no idea why, but anyway. This package that I'd like you to consider offering, is similar to what we've done in the past. A few things have changed. You'll notice in the first sentence there, this offer is limited to the 2019-2020 full-time 1.0 FTE certified teaching staff that have no less than 20 to 25 years. That's a range, and I'd like you to help me select a number there for that, for their years of service with Choteau schools and or the Montana TRS. Thoughts? You can do 23 years, you can do 27, you can do, I mean, it's just, I came up with that as a starting place.
I guess it'd be nice to know what that, I guess, is there much change in salary between 20 and 25 years?
Well,
Depends on where they are on that.
depends how
Right.
far over they are, but, it'd probably be what, 3,000 to 5,000, I suppose?
How many teachers do we have 20+ years?
Oh, it could be more than that if they're not in the,
Right. How many teachers? Well, I can tell you with experience in Choteau, I can't tell you overall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
9 was 20+ years.
So I just stopped there so we could work 4 years.
So I have a couple of questions.
Yes.
So is this locked in that this, you're moving forward with this, or I'm not sure where we're at in this process?
Well, we're nowhere starting right now.
Okay.
And if the board, I guess, doesn't feel comfortable with me offering a retirement incentive package, then I would not.
I guess I'd like to understand, is it, like, what's the overall strategy? Like, is it to lower payroll costs by enticing retirement of more expensive resources and then bring in less expensive resources, or what, like, what's the?
Yep.
Help me get grounded.
you're almost there.
That's it.
That's the scheme. How many of those 9 are 25 or more? Half?
Yes. Again, I just know Choteau experience, number of years for Choteau. So there's teachers who have taught elsewhere and have come to Choteau.
What did we offer last time we did this?
Last offer was 18,000.
No, I remember the years of service.
I believe it was 20.
Was it 20?
I believe so. I'd have to,
And we got,
none. We had another one if you go to halftime, which was a second option,
right,
that we got one.
oh, that's right. Okay,
So what, just helping me get grounded, what is what's success, I guess? Is it 1? Is it 2? Is it 9? Like what's the, what makes it?
Well, it says in here maximum of 3 that we would accept. So if
Okay.
6 of them wanted to retire, the first 3 to put in their resignation would
First
get
come,
it.
first served.
Okay.
Well, I guess, is your question, at what point would we recover the 20,000 we're paying out?
Well, no, I guess it was really more of a, it really was, so I guess it's just, so you want, sounds like up to 3, but so why we're doing this is because of the shortfall, the budget shortfall. So